Hello dear readers and subscribers. Today we continue our quest for the greatest artworks since 2000. And 2 weeks ago we presented 5 video and digital artworks, so audiovisual artworks. And today we're ready for part 2, presenting 5 more. Last time 2 of my favorites are without a doubt Francis Alice's When Faith Moves Mountains, but also of course the iconic The Clock by Markley, and today we have 5 more. 4 that I really like, 1 that I'm a bit more critical about. So let's dive in, and I hope that you enjoyed this one as well.
Ragnar Kjartansson's The Visitors was filmed in a single take at Rogby Farm, a crumbling 19th century estate in upstate New York. The work is a 9-channel video installation, each screen showing a different room of the mansion, in which a musician performs simultaneously with the others. Kjartansson himself sits in a clawfoot bathtub, strumming an acoustic guitar. In adjacent rooms, his friends and collaborators play the cello, accordion, piano, the banjo, and drums, while a small group of singers gathers on the veranda. The lyrics, based on a poem by Kjartansson's ex-wife, Asdi Sifgunnarsdottir, are sung in a slow, hypnotic loop that builds over the course of more than an hour. The title references ABBA's final album, The Visitors of 1981, recorded at a time when the band members' personal relationships had already collapsed, a parallel that haunts throughout the work. Each screen offers a portrait of a single musician, absorbed in the act of playing, yet the sound, ambient, slightly out of sync, drifting from room to room, binds them into a collective experience that feels much larger than any one of its parts. In September 2019, The Guardian ranked The Visitors first in their list of the best artworks of the 21st century, calling it an extended farewell to romanticism. Hito Steyerl's How Not to Be Seen, a fucking didactic educational .mov file, is a 14-minute single-channel video that adopts the format of an instructional tutorial, the kind you might find on YouTube, to deliver some razor-sharp meditations on visibility, surveillance, and the politics of the digital image. An automated male voice guides the viewer through a series of tongue-in-cheek lessons on how to become invisible. Hiding behind something, be smaller than a pixel, live in a gated community, or simply be female and over 50. Steyerl herself appears on screen to demonstrate some of these strategies, at one point smearing green paint across her face until she is chroma keyed into disappearance. The work premiered at the Venice Biennale in 2013, and, as she joked, in a location reachable only by swimming 2 canals and climbing a wall. It was acquired by MoMA for its permanent collection in 2014 and has been nothing less than iconic ever since, because beneath that deadpan humor, the work operates on a more unsettling plane. For instance, its visual point of departure is a resolution test target, a pattern of concrete slabs painted in the California desert during the Cold War to calibrate aerial surveillance cameras. The title, its first half, is borrowed from a Monty Python sketch, but the humor is a delivery mechanism for ideas that are anything but light, about who gets to be seen, who is forced into visibility, and who is made to vanish. Camille Henrot's Grosse Fatigue is a 13-minute video that tries to tell the story of the creation of the universe, but from a computer desktop, which is, of course, an absurd idea, and therefore a very good one. Created during a fellowship at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., the work draws from the museum's immense collections, combining footage of artifacts, animals, scientific specimens, books, bodies, hands, screens, and archival images into a restless flow of windows opening, overlapping, and disappearing. It looks like someone tried to fit the entire history of existence into a laptop and then forgot to close the tabs. Over the visual avalanche, a spoken word text moves between science, anthropology, religion, mythology, and poetry, with the pace of a mind that has had too much coffee and not enough sleep. The result is brilliant, exhausting, occasionally funny, and painfully familiar. It's the same anxiety I experience when working past midnight with dozens of tabs open, no longer able to capture, order, or control all that information, Perhaps because the human brain was never meant to, yet here we are. What makes Grosse fatigue so good is that it understands something very simple about the 21st century. We do not suffer from a lack of information, but the fact that there is far too much of it, and that somehow we are still expected to make sense of everything before lunch. Henrot takes the encyclopedic fantasy of the museum, the old dream of collecting, naming, classifying and understanding the entire world and universe, and drops it inside the operation system of the internet age, where knowledge no longer arrives as a well-ordered archive, but as a pile-up of windows, links, images, myths, facts, and half-digested associations. It is funny in a way because it is very accurate, and therefore unsettling for the same reason. It was presented at the Venice Biennale also in 2013, where Henrot won the Silver Lion. The work became quickly one of the defining video works of the decade, and, in my opinion, rightly so, because very few artworks captured the strange fatigue of contemporary knowledge with such precision, that very modern condition of knowing too much, understanding too little, and still opening another tab. Arthur Jafa's Love is the Message is Death, is a 7.5-minute video that accomplishes something most feature-length films never even approach. It condenses the full sweep of Black American experience, its beauty, its terror, its transcendence and its trauma, into a single, devastating montage. Set to Kanye West's gospel-inflected anthem Ultralight Beam of 2016, the work weaves together footage shot by Jafa himself with clips sourced from films, newscasts, sporting events, music videos, citizen recordings, and the internet. The figures who appear span the spectrum of fame and anonymity. Martin Luther King Jr., Nina Simone, Serena Williams, Biggie Smalls, Barack Obama singing Amazing Grace, but also street dancer Storyboard P, families at a wedding, and unnamed black men and women captured in moments of joy, resistance, and violence. The formal intelligence of Love is the Message is inseparable from its emotional power. Jafa has described his approach as black visual intonation, a strategy in which images are placed in effective proximity to one another, their pacing and sequencing modeled on the rhythmic structures of African American music. The montage alternately slows and accelerates, syncing with and then resisting the music, producing a counter rhythm that mirrors the whiplash between celebration and mourning, which is exactly what defines the work's emotional register. The work has been acquired by numerous renowned institutions, making it one of the most widely collected video artworks of recent years. We conclude our list with a video installation in the realm of digital art with Refik Anadol's Unsupervised, which was installed on 24-foot tall LED screen in the ground floor lobby at the Museum of Modern Art in New York in late 2022, and it immediately became one of the most talked about and also most divisive artworks of the decade. The work uses a machine learning model trained on publicly available metadata for MoMA's entire collection of over 138,000 artworks to generate a continuous, ever-shifting flow of multidimensional abstract imagery. Visitors lounged on couches in the lobby, some danced, many filmed, and most arguably posted. The exhibition was extended several times, ultimately running for nearly a year and drawing over 3 million visitors. MoMA subsequently acquired the work for its permanent collection, and yet here is where it gets complicated. Jerry Saltz, for instance, writing for New York Magazine, dismissed it as a massive techno lamp and a $500,000 screensaver. Ben Davis in Art News acknowledged it was amusing but warned that this style of art felt emblematic of a moment in which tech aesthetic of perpetual novelty had become culturally dominant at the expense of the humanities. Travis Deal of the New York Times arrived at the same conclusion in fewer words. Only a screensaver, he described it. Personally, I lean into the same direction. It's undeniably mesmerizing to look at, but watching it can feel like doom scrolling, but on a monumental scale. The question is whether the work invites genuine reflection on what art and machine intelligence could mean to one another, or whether it simply offers the aesthetic equivalent of cheap dopamine, a frictionless, endlessly morphing visual spectacle that rewards the gaze without ever challenging it, let alone anything else.
This concludes the top 10 of these video and digital artworks. If we missed some of them, definitely let us know. And if you want to see the complete article version, definitely go to contemporaryartissue.com, where we have the top 10 video artworks, but also the top 10 sculptures and top 10 paintings. So enjoy reading those as well. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch part 1 of this video series next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.